that part of the world. But I don't really have any hard data to back this up. This is more of a vibe check, really. You know, the game is played everywhere in internet cafes and yeah. Segue! So, Dota was made back in the day in 2004, I think, or 2003, and it had different developers as time went on. But the lead developer who is most synonymous with Dota nowadays is a developer named IceFrog. And this guy is basically responsible for bringing Dota to the state that it is today. Back then, when Dota 2 didn't exist yet, IceFrog actually went to other companies before Valve hired him. I believe he went to Blizzard. He even was asked by Riot Games, who were just starting off at the time. I think the developers behind Heroes of New Earth also asked him to hop on board, but he declined them all, and he ended up at Valve. And for a long time, most of the game decisions and overall game direction was because of the leadership of IceFrog. He truly is a genius of game design, balancing, and just gameplay in general, especially in the realm of MOBAs and competitive games. It's actually for that reason why I think that Valve's next game, Deadlock, is going to be such a big success when it eventually finishes in like 2 years, because it is also headed by IceFrog. But that also brings up the concern with IceFrog working on Deadlock and in general Valve working on other projects. Does that mean that Dota is gonna have less development time and attention for new content? Maybe. Again, if I'm just going off the vibes and how Dota's content feels like, it does have a somewhat slower pace in terms of content being pushed out, but the content that we still get is very good. Dota still gets like 3 to 4 big updates a year, and those updates haven't disappointed. It's actually rather funny, despite the fact that I'm talking about how Dota has this non-Valve game stigma, Dota is definitely one of the games that gets the most attention from Valve, at least internally. Because over the last 10 years, you can tell that there was a lot of production and support behind the development of Dota. Just take a look at Valve's other games. Team Fortress 2 has been wallowing, being ignored by Valve for damn near a decade. It takes entire community movements just for Valve to even acknowledge that Team Fortress 2 exists. Counter-Strike is Valve's other big esports juggernaut. But if I'm being honest, Counter-Strike doesn't really need that much content for its player base to be content. They don't want the game to change. Not in major ways, at least. That's actually one of the reasons why guns like the M249 still exist. Why does this useless gun exist? Simple, because it existed in the first game, and that is the only reason it's still there, even though nobody buys it. This is the level of development we're talking about here. They are not going to touch anything about Counter-Strike. They might tweak like some numbers here,